political landscape in Washington was shaken this week by the drama surrounding the Jeffrey Epstein case. At the center of the storm is former President Donald Trump, who made a sharp and unexpected reversal in his approach to the release of classified documents related to the case. Donald Trump once again categorically denied any connection to Jeffrey Epstein, placing the blame for the entire scandal on the Democratic Party. Responding to questions, Trump stated, "I didn't know that guy at all." When asked if he would sign a law to declassify the Epstein files, he again deflected, baselessly claiming it distracts from his economic successes. He called the entire matter a gigantic hoax, stating that no matter what concessions are demanded, it would never be enough. Trump said, "We have nothing to do with what the Democrats do. All of his friends were Democrats. Look at Reid Hoffman, look at Larry Summers, Bill Clinton, they were constantly flying to his island. There are many of them and they're all Democrats. We, on the other hand, have done a tremendous job, and I hate to see attention diverted from our achievements, so I'm all for it. You know, we've already provided 50,000 pages. Unfortunately, like with the Kennedy situation, with the Martin Luther King situation, I'm not putting Epstein in the same category, but no matter what we provide, it's never enough. With Kennedy, we gave everything and it wasn't enough. With Martin Luther King, the same thing, we've already given, I believe the number is 50,000 pages, and it's all Russia, 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 another hoax this time aimed at Republicans." The political drama surrounding the potential release of the files reached its peak, culminating in a dramatic shift in position by Donald Trump. After months of resistance from the White House and its allies in Congress, Trump unexpectedly announced his support for a House vote that would compel the Department of Justice to publish a vast trove of Epstein-related documents. This unexpected move was driven by internal party pressure and an impending legislative maneuver. In this way, Trump managed to avoid a potentially humiliating public split among Republicans and reframe the ongoing scandal. The catalyst for this political confrontation was the Epstein Files Transparency Act, a bipartisan bill spearheaded by Representatives Thomas Massie and Ro Khanna. The proposed legislation aims to mandate the Department of Justice to disclose all non-classified records, correspondence, and investigative materials concerning Epstein and his accomplice Ghislaine Maxwell. Although the bill includes limited exemptions to protect the personal information of victims and genuinely classified materials, its core purpose is to force maximum transparency in a case that has long fueled conspiracy theories and public outrage. For several weeks, the transparency efforts were blocked by Republican leadership in the House of Representatives, forcing Massie and Khanna to resort to a rarely used and seldom successful legislative tool, the discharge petition. Under House rules, if a simple majority of members, 218 signatures in the 435-member chamber, sign such a petition, it forces the measure to a floor vote, bypassing leadership control. Last week, this initiative reached its magic number. The 218th signature was secured by Representative Adelita Gomez shortly after she was sworn in. Despite his previous opposition, Speaker Mike Johnson conceded to the inevitability of the vote after the petition succeeded. Trump and his allies fiercely opposed the bill, branding the entire effort a political smear campaign. Democrats, however, saw Trump's opposition as a deliberate attempt at a cover-up. Representative Robert Garcia, a ranking member on the Oversight Committee, which has been releasing Epstein documents, accused the president of trying everything to kill our Jeffrey Epstein investigation. Garcia stated that Trump panicked when he realized he was about to lose the vote, and noted that the president already possesses the unilateral power to release the files himself without any legislative action. According to Garcia, Trump's delays and the launch of new, unrelated investigations were merely meant to continue this cover-up and launch bogus new investigations to distract and slow down our work. The scandal was amplified by the release of a new batch of emails provided by the Epstein estate and disclosed by the Oversight Committee. The White House disputed these emails, claiming Democrats selectively leaked them to create a false narrative and smear Donald Trump. Among these emails, it was alleged, was a 2019 communication from Epstein stating that Trump knew about the girls, as well as a 2011 email hinting that Trump spent several hours with a person the committee identified as a victim. White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre strongly disputed the authenticity and context of these emails. Facing an inevitable House vote, Trump made a stunning reversal over the weekend, announcing on Truth Social that House Republicans should vote to release the Epstein files because we have nothing to hide. This change of heart appears to have been motivated by two main factors. First, the success of the discharge petition meant a vote was imminent, and a significant number of Republicans, including conservative figures like Nancy Mace, Lauren Boebert, and Marjorie Taylor Greene, were prepared to break with the White House and support the bill. This mass defection would have been a major political failure, highlighting Trump's waning control over a key segment of his party. By publicly supporting the vote, Trump avoids the appearance of defeat and prevents a public demonstration of disunity. Second, the political calculation likely extends to the Senate. The bill is expected to pass the House, but its fate in the Republican-controlled Senate remains uncertain, and even if it clears the upper chamber, it would still require the president's signature to become law. Given his current support, it is still possible that the Senate could kill the bill, or that Trump could ultimately refuse to sign it, effectively claiming a moral victory for transparency while preventing the actual release of the files. As Representative Thomas Massey noted, the president could release all the files himself, suggesting this pivot is more of a political maneuver than a genuine commitment to immediate disclosure. The Epstein saga has resonated deeply with Trump's conservative base, many of whom have long expressed outrage over the perceived cover-up and demanded greater transparency. By now advocating for release, Trump seeks to placate this critical part of his support base, framing the issue as a Democratic hoax that he, as the victor, has now vanquished in the name of the Republican Party's great successes. The Epstein Files Transparency Act is now poised for passage in the House of Representatives, but its journey is far from over. It still must successfully navigate the Senate and ultimately be signed by the president. Meanwhile, a new Economist YouGov poll showed that Donald Trump's approval rating among white voters has dropped to its lowest point during his second term, underscoring a broader decline that could complicate Republican prospects in the midterm elections. The poll found that 47% of white respondents approve of Trump's performance, while 50% disapprove, giving him a net approval rating of -3. This figure marks a significant shift for a voter group that has long been a crucial part of his support base. Regardless of the outcome, the intense legislative fight and the president's last-minute pivot underscore the political volatility of the Epstein case and the growing bipartisan demand for full public disclosure about the criminal's network and the circumstances of his crimes. Attention now shifts to the Senate and the question of whether this sudden commitment to transparency will hold as the bill progresses toward the president's desk.